What y'all don't know is before Dr. Gupta, there was another story. So, for those of you who do not know, Melissa called me, and I was the one that was able to get Danny out of his apartment, get him to the hospital, resuscitate, revive, rejuvenate, whatever the fuck you want to call it, and get him to the hospitalizations to be diagnosed with what would inevitably be his downfall. That sounded kind of fucked up a little bit, slurred my speech, but I've had way more bourbon than a normal man should drink, and I don't care, but y'all are getting a story out of it. And I swore I couldn't tell this story until I had enough to drink, so here I am. So, I don't even know what all happened that day. To be quite honest with you, I don't remember a lot of it because it was a blur. I know my wife and my kids were with me, and when Melissa called me, we were at Costco, and Costco is savage as fuck, all right? Like, it's kind of like Walmart and Sam's Club. For those of y'all that are familiar, I'm sure some of y'all know what Costco is. But Costco got a big ass, you can get a big ass hot dog and a drink for like $2.50. That's good. That's a good goddamn deal right there. I'm gonna tell you what. Sorry for saying goddamn at the church. You know, that ain't fair and that ain't right, but Lord, or you know, whatever, all that nonsense and shit. But it's a good deal. You can get a hot dog and a drink, and Costco got a good ass hot dog though, for real. My dog just ran by. Sorry, I had to see what he had in his mouth. Yeah, so I was the one who found Danny in his apartment with my wife. And then I went to the hospital. And Melissa, in her infinite wisdom or ignorance, I don't know, she didn't know me that well at the time, gave me the blessing to authorize Danny's care. Can y'all believe that shit? The blessing to authorize his care. Y'all, I'm gonna tell you something you might not know. I don't like doctors, and I don't like dentists, and I don't like nothing. And I'm not very intelligent. I'm not very educated. I don't think she knew what she was getting into, but she's like, you take care of him, okay? Because he's the love of my life, and I want to make sure that he makes it. Something like that. You can probably figure it out. And I took it serious, right? I took it serious, and I did what had to be done. So, I get Danny to the hospital, and, well, actually, I didn't get him there. He rode in a Bamulance. And for all you don't know, a Bamulance, that's kind of like an ambulance, but Bamulance is a northern thing, and that means you're probably going to hit a deer on the way to the hospital. But since Danny was living in an apartment complex, not all that far from the hospital, the risk was low. But he got there, and they said, how should we proceed? And I said, with life-saving measures. I'm sure his wife would appreciate that. And they're like, okay, we'll do everything we can. You know, we're not quite sure what's happening yet. We had to give him CPR in the Bamulance on the way here. But his heart is currently beating, and he's responsive-ish. So fuck you mean he's responsive-ish? They said he blinked. Ma'am, if my eyes are open, I'm blinking too, okay? Did he respond to anything? Did he, I don't know, follow a command? Did he tell y'all how he was feeling? She goes, no, he was just awake when we got here, and his heart was beating on his own. So we're gonna take him into ICU and see what we can do. He is triage patient number 1, which means he's going to get the highest priority of care here at the Elkhart Hospital. So that's fantastic. Because I seen y'all carry him out on the gurney, and he didn't have a shirt on, and I seen his titties hanging out. and he looked like he needed all the attention y'all could give him. So I'd appreciate that. I'm pretty sure his wife, who is, I don't know, 600 miles away in North Carolina, would probably appreciate it. And I'm just going out on a limb and saying that the unconscious patient that we're dealing with here would be more than grateful for y'all to give him the utmost undivided attention you could possibly do. So we get Danny in the emergency room, and they're like, Mr. Clevenger, that's my name, Mr. Clevenger. His wife has authorized you to provide, authorization for him to get the best care possible here at Elkhart Hospital. And we're going to see you into the waiting room and let you authorize this care. We'll take you back to see him when he's stable. I said, okay. So they show me in this room, and they take me into the prayer room. Y'all, they take me in the prayer room. Do you know what the prayer room is? It is dark, okay? It is. There's like one light on in the ceiling, and the room is, I don't know, 20 by 20-ish, roughly. I don't know. Dark as shit, okay? There's one light in the ceiling. Kind of feels like a spotlight. I feel like they're calling me out. Like, I'm fairly religious and spiritual. Like, I lean on my faith a lot. But I felt like I was being highlighted in this room, y'all. There ain't shit in this room. There's a couch, a love seat, 2 coffee tables, 2 lamps, and a rolling chair that looks like an office chair, which I assume is for when the doctor comes in to give you the news you don't want to hear. So I'm immediately thinking, they're about to tell me some bullshit, right? There's a rolling chair in here. I've been to the doctor. You've been to the doctor. When there's a rolly chair, that means the doctor's going to come in and sit down and give you news you probably don't want. So I'm like, okay, these bastards about to come sit down on this rolly chair and tell me things I don't want to hear, which means I'm going to have to call his wife and tell her shit she don't want to hear. Nah, I sit in this room for an hour and a half. I'm texting everybody I know. I'm texting my boss. I'm texting his wife. Keep in mind, I'm Danny's boss at the time, right? I'm texting all of our gaming friends. And I said, I don't know what's going on. Finally, Nurse Brittany, who y'all are about to hear a whole lot more about, comes into the room. And she's like, are you Adam? And I said, that's me, Adam. She's like, would you like to come back and see the patient? And I said, yeah, I kind of been waiting for that. I'm sure his wife would be very happy too. She's like, follow me. And she turns and walks this way. And I'm like, well, I better get my fucking fat ass up and walk in back there. So I follow her back. We go through more doors than I can count, right? And she's like, Mr. Grissom is this way. And I said, okay, we'll walk this way. So we get back there about, I don't know, 5 minutes later. It's the longest walk you could possibly imagine to go like 300 feet. So we get there. She takes me in a room. He's in this big ass room. I mean, this room is obnoxiously large. It's about 25 by 25. He's the only person in this room. He's in the center of the room on this hospital bed of hospital beds, right? This thing does this, it does this, it does this, it rolls all in these different directions. I'm pretty sure it's kind of like a Sybian, right? Like, this thing can do some things. I'm not smoking, I promise, but it probably sounded like it there. The allergies are really bad up here in the Ohio River Valley. So she says, this is Mr. Grissom's room. He's the #1 patient in triage. You're welcome to hang out here. And I was like, great. I'm going to call his wife. I got to see him. His heart's beating. His oxygen's solid. His blood pressure looks pretty freaking good. Ain't great, but it looks pretty good. And here we are. He's still alive. I'll be damned, a few minutes later, they'll come in. They're like, we're trying to figure out what's wrong with Mr. Grissom. And I was like, there's more things wrong with him than you can possibly imagine. But none of them relate to what's happening today. Okay? And she's like, well, what does that mean? And I said, he's a special boy. All right? And y'all are thinking right now, like, oh, he's got such a big heart. He's a genuine person. He's so sweet. He's an asshole. Melissa knows it. Amber knows it. All of our gaming group knows it. Danny's an asshole. To most people. He's got a big heart, but he's an asshole. And I said, what are y'all gonna do? And they're like, well, we don't know what caused this. This is not just normal for someone with good health to, I'm yelling again, Suburban, to just have a seizure and for their heart to stop to require CPR to get it going again. And I was like, well, no shit. That's your job to figure out. And she said, that's correct. And we're working really hard on that right now. We've rolled out a few things, but there's a few things we need to check for. And we'd like to do a spinal tap to Mr. Grissom. Would you be okay with authorizing that? And I don't know shit about spinal taps. All I know is my wife had a kid once, and they wanted to give her an epidural. And the first thing I thought of was they was going to numb his legs, you know, from the crotch down. And I was like, well, that probably don't make any sense, so there's probably more to it than that. So I said, well, what are y'all going to do? And they said, well, we're going to draw some fluid from his spine to see if he has whatever that mosquito-borne virus is, encephalitis. I don't fucking know what it is. I can't even remember. She said there's been a few cases of that around the area, and we just want to rule it out. Ella! What's that? What's that virus they give you a spinal tap for? The mosquito one. Malaria, that's it. Good job. Malaria. See, she's right over there. She's smarter than I am, so I had to ask her. So they want to give her a spinal tap. Him. We'll get back to that. A spinal tap to check for malaria. And I was like, okay, Melissa has trusted me to authorize care. So y'all give him a spinal tap and make sure he doesn't have malaria. So they said, well, Mr. Clevenger, can you step out of the room? We need a sterile environment to do the spinal tap. All the attitudes happening. And I said, that's fine. I'd be happy to step out. You know, I'll bounce out of here. I'll call his wife, let her know what's going on. Take a little walk. I'm going to get some dinner because I haven't eaten anything for like 14 hours at this point. I'm going to get some food. I'm going to take a walk. There's a river right there. I'm going to take a little walk around the river. I'll come back and check on y'all in, I don't know, an hour after I talk to the wife. That's great. That's great. We have to wake him up first. I said, excuse me? The man's been unconscious for, I don't know, 13 hours now, and y'all are going to wake him up to give him a spinal tap? That sounds like the worst possible idea. That sounds a little bit like waking someone up to, I don't know, remove their spleen. They're like, well, we have to make sure that we do a spinal tap that, you know, he's conscious and he can move and respond to things. Bug, sorry, it was a big one. Never heard that before. Make sure he can respond to things and that we aren't going to have negative impacts on his motor skills. That makes sense. I'd be pissed if it was me, but I understand it. Y'all wake him up. Go ahead. Go on ahead. He ain't gonna be happy about it, but go ahead. That's how we get to Dr. Gupta. And y'all might have heard the Dr. Gupta story, but nothing prepared me for the Dr. Gupta story as a first-hand witness. And y'all are hearing it third-hand because I got to see it. I shared it with Melissa. She shared it with all y'all. And you've probably seen me tell the story on her phone because she wanted to record me telling the story because it was so unbelievable. And it was one of the greatest experiences of my whole life. She said, We have to make sure he can respond to commands before we tap his spine and make sure he doesn't have the malarias. Okay. So she proceeds to try and wake him up. They give him a shot of something. I don't know what it was. Probably freaking epinephrine or I don't know. I have no clue what it was. They shoot into his IV port and they're like, Mr. Grissom, I need you to wake up, Mr. Grissom. And I said, this ain't going to end well for anybody. She says, Mr. Grissom. She's shaking his chest. His man boobs are moving. Mr. Grissom, can you squeeze my hand? Like, I know he can't understand you. I can barely understand you. Keep in mind, this dude's coming out of a coma. He can't understand a word you're saying, but we're going to go with it. Mr. Grissom, do you understand me? Squeeze my hand, Mr. Grissom. Nope, nothing. She moves around to the other side. She continues on, shaking his chest, man boobs moving, ponytail flapping in the wind. Mr. Grissom, I need you to respond to my commands, Mr. Grissom. Can you move your left hand, Mr. Grissom? Nope, he wasn't doing it. He had other plans that day, and he was not cooperating with Dr. Gupta. Mr. Grissom! She was all up on his chest, all right? She was damn near doing push-ups on his chest. Mr. Grissom! So she moves down to his feet. Don't know what her logic was, but she gave up upper body. Moves down to his feet. Mr. Grissom, can you move your toes, Mr. Grissom? No. So, y'all probably heard me talk a little bit before about Nurse Brittany. Nurse Brittany was hot as shit. Smoking hot. Honestly, she ran that bitch. Nurse Brittany slides in there to where Dr. Gupta had just left. And she's like, Mr. Grissom, can you squeeze my hand, please? I'll be damned if that dude didn't latch onto her hand like the movie Cliffhanger. He was holding on to that sumbitch. Her hand was all gnarled. It was like this. Y'all know where I'm going with this. Dr. Gupta moved on to the other side of the bed. Nurse Brittany moved down to the bottom side of the bed where Dr. Gupta just was. Mr. Grissom, can you move your toes? Can you move your toes? Nothing. Nurse Brittany. Danny, can you move your toes for me, please? Like a goddamn Picasso, them fuckers just moved. He was all over that shit. I'm doing everything I can not to laugh at this point because I'm like, you rotten son of a bitch. I see where you're going with this. I said, look, Dr. Gupta, he is not going to do a damn thing you tell him to do. He doesn't understand you. Your English isn't very good. Your bedside manner is aggressive. And Nurse Brittany's pretty hot. And he's very responsive to that, as you can see. And she's like, he's doing a great job moving his toes. He went with his toes there when we were waking him up. Oh, look, his eyes just blinked. He just moved his eyes. So Nurse Brittany walks up there and she's like, Danny, can you blink your eyes for me? And he's like, she's like, that's great. He's coming out of it. And Dr. Goop just, well, that just doesn't seem very right, does it? Well, you're kind of a chode. She's kind of hot. Danny's still Danny. Still a dude. On top of not wanting to do anything we're told as a guy, we do tend to be a little bit more responsive when the person that's asking you to do it is reasonably attractive, as opposed to the 5'8", 260-pound Indian doctor saying, Mr. Grissom, Mr. Grissom. I'm not gonna lie, I would have responded to Brittany much the same way.